bienvenue à tous and thanks for joining us on Gabon 24 for an exclusive interview with Mr. Vladmir Eskin, CEO of Six Grain Corporation for the digitalization of Africa sector in Africa, currently in Gabon for the One Forest Summit. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to the set of Gabon 24.
Thank you. Yeah.
Can you introduce yourself?
My name is Vladmir Eskin. I represent a company called Six Grain. We're located in Washington, D.C. in the U.S., but most of the projects we've implemented so far have been in Africa.
Okay, well, what is Six Grain and brief of the view of the company?
We are a digital agriculture company. We started about 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And most, as I mentioned earlier, most of our projects have been located in Africa. Our experience includes various digital components for agriculture. Some are for the country level, for the whole country, as you know, like we're working with several countries to kind of understand what's going on with agriculture. And some of our solutions are actually designed to help farmers to utilize most of their resources for improved and increased production of agriculture.
Okay, how did you find the sector in Gabon? Like, how is it structured according to you?
I don't know much about Gabon. I mean, this is my second time in the country. We don't know much about agriculture sector in Gabon yet. But given the partnership that we just signed with the Ministry of Agriculture, in the next 6 months, we're going to deliver significant results for the country on various components. So and I can go deeper into that.
Okay, can you explain what the agreement was all about, if you can?
Yeah, so we've been working with the Ministry of Agriculture for about a month. Initially, when I came here a month ago, I presented various modules that we can implement for the country, right? When I say modules, I mean digital agriculture modules, right? And the experts from the Ministry of Agriculture selected about 5 modules that they want us to implement in the next 6 months. And I just want to go briefly. Some of those modules are related, as I said, to helping farmers on the ground. We're going to start with actually registering farmers in Gabon. We're going to provide a software technology and training, and people from, the Ministry of Agriculture staff will actually visit farmers and digitize them. We're going to know the location of every farmer. We're going to know the farm size that they manage. We're going to know what crops they're actually growing, right? And we're going to be able to use that information to determine whether they're growing something suitable for that area or not, and what needs to be done in order to approve their farm management practices.
Okay.
So that's on the farmer side. And on the government side, we're going to be using satellite imagery and remote sensing, satellite information, right, to understand what's going on the ground and how to better assist farmers from the government standpoint in terms of subsidy, in terms of support, extension services, training, and so on. So there are 2 main objectives: one, to help farmers on the ground, and one, to provide the Gabon government, the government of Gabon, with a full visibility of what's going on in the sector.
So you have been here for how many days? I want to understand, you have a point of view already, like the global point of view of the agriculture sector. What is the need here, and how can your company help in this sector?
So our understanding of Gabon agriculture comes from the Ministry of Agriculture. We're going to be, as I said, we signed a partnership where we're going to be helping the ministry to implement digital tools for improved production for farmers, and to monitor, to actually provide full evaluation of the sector on the ground using satellite imagery.
Okay. In how many countries are you located in Africa?
Over the last, as I said, 7-8 years, we've worked probably with 10 African countries in total, and we have various partners on the ground. In some cases, government agencies. In some cases, it's private sector players.
And when you look at the global agriculture sector in Africa, what is the real need of the continent to be expand this sector to be food sufficient, maybe, for the country?
The information needs to flow to farmers. The relevant information needs to flow to farmers at the right time, right? And some of the tools that we're going to implement for the government, for the government of Gabon, is to develop those tools and flow that information to farmers, right? What needs to be done before planting? What type of seeds they gotta use? What type of crop? What is suitable crop for that area? What type of crop protection products they want to utilize? when is the crop is under specific pressure, what's called disease pressure, right? And all that information will be packaged together and farmers will receive it on a regular basis. And by applying that information to actual farm price practices, we're going to be able to increase production.
Okay, what are the practical results can we expect for the country?
The partnership that we signed has a timeline of about 6 months. So in 6 months, we're going to be able to implement quite a few solutions for the country, right? We're going to train extension agents and some government agencies that relate to agriculture how to digitize farmers. We're going to give them technology. So we're going to be able to identify all the farmers on the ground, right? And we're going to be able to map it with infrastructure of the Ministry of Agriculture, where they have training centers, where they have distribution of inputs on the ground. So we're going to be able to optimize the government infrastructure and actual farmers on the ground, right? And we're going to overlay on all that together to get like the complete optimization system for the country.
Okay, we wish you good luck on your project. We hope that your agreement and the local people, it will match and people will be very comfortable with the digitalization of agriculture in the country. So in that term, we have reached the end of this edition. If you have something else to say, you have the opportunity.
As I said, within 6 months, you're going to see visible and tangible results on the ground.
Okay, so sir, what is the solution you want to implement in the country?
The Ministry of Agriculture experts have decided to start with 3, 4, maybe 5 solutions, and I can give you a little bit of information on some of them. Yeah. For example, we're going to digitize farmers. What that means, we're going to have a mobile solution for your extension officers here working for the government, right? People who deal with the farmers, right? We're going to have a mobile solution. They're going to go to the farmer that they visit on a regular basis already, right? And they're going to be able to ask questions. We're going to design a survey, initial survey with the Ministry of Agriculture. My colleagues will design that survey with the Ministry of Agriculture, right? And then the survey will say, what are you growing? How big is your field? How much you spend on your fields, on your crop inputs, and so on. There's going to be questions, maybe 10, 15, 20, up to, 40 questions. Depends on the ministry, right? We're going to capture that information, and that information will flow to the Ministry of Agriculture, okay? And that's how the government, the Ministry of Agriculture, will be able to identify all the farmers on the ground, right? And we will be able to measure what's the potential production for each and every farmer, right? So what they're growing now and what's the potential production for each and every farmer, right? So that's the initial task that we're going to start with. In parallel, we're going to be using satellite imagery and remote sensing to identify crops on the ground. We're going to run what's called crop classification or crop identification model, right? So we want to be able to help the Ministry of Agriculture to identify which parts of the country which crop is growing, right? So we're going to start with the models that we already have. Maize and wheat and soy, and we're going to start with the crops classification models that we already have in-house, and we're going to run them on top of the whole country, right? So we're going to be able to identify where the crops are, right? And that's how the government will be able to optimize their help for farmers, right? And what needs to be done for every farmer, given the crops they're growing. That's number one. And if it happens that farmers are growing crops that are not suitable for that specific area, right? We're going to provide advice to the farmers what needs to be done in order to switch them to more suitable crops, right? So these are the 2 solutions. We're also going to run what's called vegetation model on the country, where we're going to be able to identify all vegetation, regardless of the crops. And the government is interested in running what's called commercial farm identification, which means from satellite, we're going to identify all farms that qualify or sort of that we can classify as commercial farms.
Okay, so I have another question.
Yes, please.
This option is for people able to read and comfortable with mobile phone digitalization. But we know that in Africa, we still have that problem of people who are not comfortable with modernization, mobile phone, or they don't even know how to read.
Yeah.
You see? How can you help those kind of people?
But we're going to be working with communities, right? So in the community, there will be people who are literate and who will be able to receive that information and apply it across the whole community, right? So the Ministry of Agriculture will make decision who is actually going to receive that information using phones, right? It's going to be up to Ministry of Agriculture. Our task is going to be to develop all those solutions and make sure everything is operational,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So another solution, for example, we're going to develop disease pressure model, right? In other words, when certain climatic conditions overlap and the disease pressure disease risk pressure rises, right? We're going to be able to send a signal, it's like a message or WhatsApp message or text message to farmers to help them kind of get into certain actions, what needs to be done in order to prevent from that disease spreading up across the field, right?
Can we say that the solution that you are bringing forth is your ways and the way of your company to save the planet or to reduce carbon emissions and stuff like that?
I would not make a statement that bold, but
what is your way? Because we are here in the case of the One Forest Summit. What is your engagement?
We're going to help Gabon farmers to manage their fields better, right? We're going to increase efficiency, right? And increase production for every farmer. And that's going to be the contribution of the program, of the partnership, right? Into food security situation in Gabon. That's the overall kind of objective. But as I said, it's going to take us probably 3 months to get things started and another 3 months to give you some visible results on the ground, okay?
Okay. So we are here in the One Forest Summit and we are talking about all this stuff, climate change. What are you going to say according to your vision, your ambition to all these farmers, local farmers, Gabonese who are watching you? What are you going to tell them?
We're going to work with the farmers on the ground using, as I said, extension agents or government employees, right? To provide them relevant information with respect to farming.
And what are the requirements to work with you?
To work with us? No, for farmers, there will be no requirements at all, right? The Ministry of Agriculture will utilize our information across all farmers in the country.
Okay.
That's the objective.
Thank you. Do you have a final word maybe?
No, I mean, it's a pleasure to be here. We appreciate the opportunity to work with
And the climate is treating you well, the weather is fine.
Yes.
Okay, it is on that note that we close this edition. We were receiving Mr. Vladmir, CEO of 6 Green Corporation for the digitalization of Africa sector in Africa. So thanks for watching us. Information continues on Gabon 24. See you for more on Gabon 24.